Have you ever been in a greenhouse? If you have, then you've probably noticed that greenhouses are usually much warmer than the outside air. But have you ever stopped and wondered why that is? Well, greenhouses are usually made of materials like glass or plastic. When greenhouses get heated by the sun, the energy from the sun is able to pass right through the glass or plastic of the greenhouse and reach the plants inside. This causes the plants, the floor, and anything else inside the greenhouse to be heated by the incoming sunlight. Once the heat is inside, the glass or plastic material doesn't let it escape, so the heat stays inside the greenhouse and the greenhouse warms up, which is good for the plants. Now, did you know that Earth's atmosphere behaves a lot like a greenhouse? The Earth also gets heated by the sun like a greenhouse does. The sun shines on the Earth, and then the light and heat from the sun travel through Earth's atmosphere, which is a layer, like a jacket, of gases that surrounds the Earth. When this happens, some of the sun's energy is absorbed by Earth's surface, some is reflected back into space, and some is trapped by naturally occurring gases in the atmosphere that reflect the heat back onto the Earth before it can escape back into space. These heat-trapping gases in the atmosphere are called greenhouse gases. And this process of the Earth's atmosphere trapping heat from the sun is called the greenhouse effect. It's actually essential. Imagine that. The Earth needs these greenhouse gases because they keep the Earth warm, and without them, the Earth would be too cold for humans, plants, and other life to exist. It's like wrapping yourself in a warm blanket and having the blanket keep heat near your body, keeping you warm on a cold night. There are many different greenhouse gases that are in Earth's atmosphere, but the most common ones are carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, nitrous oxide, and ozone. The main greenhouse gases that we're going to focus on are carbon dioxide and methane. Carbon dioxide can be emitted into the atmosphere from natural sources, such as being released from the oceans, decomposing forests, wildfires, volcanoes, and even animal burps. Ew. Carbon dioxide is all around us naturally and is a necessary gas for all life on Earth. Another naturally occurring greenhouse gas is methane. Methane is produced and emitted when organic material breaks down in the absence of air, so like underwater. Methane is also released into the atmosphere from natural sources, such as from wetlands, inland water systems like lakes, rivers, and ponds, thawing permafrost, and sediments on the ocean floor. So, greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane can be released into the atmosphere through natural processes, and they are needed for the Earth. But these gases can also be added by human activities. Greenhouse gases get emitted into the atmosphere when humans burn fossil fuels, so things like coal, oil, and gas. Things like driving cars, using energy, agriculture practices, deforestation, and waste from landfills, just to name a few, all add carbon dioxide and methane to the atmosphere. What's important to know is too much greenhouse gases in the atmosphere will trap too much of the sun's heat and will cause the Earth to warm up. These two greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide and methane, are the two largest contributors to human-caused climate change of all the greenhouse gases, and emitting these greenhouse gases into the atmosphere contributes the most to climate change than anything else on Earth. Think of the world's atmosphere like a bathtub, where for over 100 years, not water, but greenhouse gases have been added to the bathtub. The level of greenhouse gases in the bathtub has been rising and now approaching the rim. So the limit that the bathtub can hold, or the maximum amount of greenhouse gases that the atmosphere can contain, is filling up. We don't want to run out of room in the bathtub, and we don't want to reach the rim. So we need to slow down the flow and eventually turn off the tap to stop the amount of greenhouse gases that we're adding to the bathtub, aka adding to Earth's atmosphere. This means that the most important thing that humans can do to take action on climate change is to limit the amount of greenhouse gases that we're adding to the atmosphere. Canada has committed to reach net zero emissions by 2050. Net zero means that we're going to reduce emissions to as close to zero as possible, and then use other climate action strategies and technologies to balance out any leftover emissions. This is where you come in. We need your help to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions. There are many ways that we can all reduce our individual greenhouse gas emissions. One significant way to reduce emissions is to think about the way you travel and try to use more sustainable forms forms of transportation. For shorter distance travel, like getting around in your own town, try to take public transit or use an active form of transportation like walking or riding your bike. For longer distances where you need to travel by car, see if you can carpool with other people to cut emissions. But it doesn't stop there. Take climate actions where you can. For example, you can also cut emissions by helping to save energy at home. Start simple and turn off your devices when they're not in use, or turn off your lights when you're not in the room. We can all play a role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions and helping Canada achieve net zero emissions by 2050. So what actions will you take?